Hey, this is Max. I'm back with another CSR2 video. This time it is the LB GTR 35. This will be the next season's Prestige Cup car, and I'm going to give you the breakdown of the Stage 6 effects. But wait a minute, wasn't that supposed to be the 599 GTO? Yes, it was at the beginning of this season. That was the information. However, Natural Motion has since flipped it so that the LB GTR comes first and the GTO will come second. But don't you worry, I already did a video on the 599 GTO and I will be putting that into the descriptive of this video so that you can have a link to that video as well. All right, so first things first, let's take a look at the dyno for a tune that is set up on stage 5 only. Notice that I have a non-optimal tune set up here, and there's a reason I'm doing this. This is similar to the world record tune when you have a fully maxed car. Now, why am I using this? Because with this car, much like the F12, a max Evo setup actually does not run as well as the uh, lower final drive setup, which actually runs better. So the max evo setup kind of gives us a theoretical time of about 13.9. I'm going to put it back to this 2.17 final drive, and I'm going to show you what the car actually can run with lower evo and a non-optimal evo tune. This is rather unique to this car. Not every car requires this kind of tuning, but the LB GTR does benefit from this particular setup, much like the F12. So we're going to do a test run now utilizing this setting, and I'm going to show you how it's driven. So with this car, because you're using the lower final drive, what you're going to do is you're going to launch it early at about 3000 RPM and hit nitrous immediately. But you don't want to bounce the needle on the end of first gear. What you're going to try to do is catch it as close as possible to an early perfect, and then it's all early perfect shifts from there. That'll give you generally the best run possible out of the car. Let's take a look at what it ran. 13,844, better by almost a tenth from what the theoretical good dyno would be. Here's a near optimal dyno. I'm tweaking it as much as I can here. That's not the best, but it's pretty close. So 13,933 was what the theoretical is, and we just did a 13,840, almost a tenth quicker. So that's why you want to use this particular final drive setting. Let me put it to the max setting and show you what the car runs. It drives a little differently, and I'm not sure I'm driving it perfectly either, but I'm just kind of giving you an idea what it looks like when you drive it with the full Evo setting. When you drive it with a full Evo setting, you're kind of gimping yourself a little bit here rather than helping yourself because the car rarely beats dyno with this setting. So now you're topping out all the way to sixth gear instead of fourth gear. A lot more shifting. You're launching and using nitrous in second rather than first because you just don't have enough time to use it in first. 13997, which is actually slower than what dyno is. So not an optimal tune. It will be almost better for you to go ahead and set it to this 2.17 setting. And just like the RBRX7, just like the F12, this kind of lower final drive setting seems to do the best for cars like this, and particularly this car. Okay, let's look at the stage 6 effects. We'll start off with stage 6 nitrous. Stage 6 nitrous should be the biggest one for this car, and my testing has shown it is the biggest one for this car. So nitrous being used right from get-go, having strong nitrous coming off the line can really shave time off of this car's basically 0 to 60 and 0 to 100, which translates to shaving off quite a bit of time. Here you see the dyno is already down to 13.861. It's a lot lower than what it was before. And that's just on the dyno. Note that this dyno doesn't mean that much because we're going to beat dyno by quite a bit. Let's see what the car can do with just nitrous. Same ideal launch point right around 3000. Same thing, I was a little late on first gear, but shouldn't affect it terribly. I'm anticipating this to be a good run, but not a great run. So let's see what it comes back with. That looked like a 13.2. And yes, there it is, 13.2. So you just dropped from 13.844 to 13.258. That is a almost a 6/10 drop. That's big. Very few stage sixes will do that. And usually when a car has a stage six that does a 6/10 drop, that's the big boy for this particular car. All right, stage six body. Let's take a look at what we got here. Now, body was a pretty big one on some tier 4 cars. I anticipate that it will have a decent amount of effect on this car as well. So there's a nice PP gain. Evo actually went up without tweaking the tune. That's always a good sign. But again, we lost the nitrous duration, so we have to adjust the nitrous a little bit. That actually dropped it a little bit, but let's leave it at 3.1. And the dyno says 13963, so it's a little bit slower starting dyno than our other one of 13.8 for the starting dyno, but it's very close to what nitrous actually started at. However, is it going to do as much damage as nitrous? Let's see. Same idea, you're going to launch around 3K. Oh, that's a little early on the shift. That's going to cost me at least 2-300s. Let's see what it turns out to be, and then maybe we'll theoretically deduct another 200s to see what the time should be. Uh, it could probably be even better than that if somebody drives it perfectly, but let's see what it says. 13.5. So this could possibly hit as low as a 13.4. So it's 2/10 slower than nitrous, but it's still almost a 4/10 drop from stock tier 5, full tier 5 stages. Now we're looking at stage 6 tire. Tire, however, may not be as good on this car as you would think. The issue here is that it's already a very grippy car. I'm sure the additional stage 6 tire will help, but I'm not sure it's going to do as much as we hope it would. Generally, a combination of a PP jump and Evo jump is a good thing. In this case, neither happened. We have no real PP jump and almost zero Evo jump. Now, dyno is now at 14.294, so it's slower by 3/10 on the dyno theoretically, but again, that dyno is not quite accurate. 13.788, it was an optimal, semi-optimal tune would do. So let's see what it does with the 14.292 um, dyno. So again, we're going to definitely beat that. We're probably going to end up in 13.7 something. The question is, are we going to beat what the max evo dyno says it would be? We should. It might not be as much, but we should. Okay, this one, the shifts are not that bad. So this is probably going to be close to what it's going to actually end up at. And I think I saw a 13.7 there, which is basically what the theoretical is. Okay, yeah, so we still beat dyno slightly, 13.736. But again, pretty terrible compared to others because if you think about it, the car starts at 13.844. That's a 736. That's less than, well, about a tenth. Okay, so this is definitely one of the bottom tier sixes. Stage 6 trans. Okay, let's see what the trans will do. Now, trans, unlike tire, on a car like this should do something, should be decent. I would say it should be at least as good as body or engine. Depending on fusion status and other things, it's always a toss-up between those three. Body, trans, and engine can fall to either side by a bit. If trans turns out to be a strong one, then engine probably won't be as strong. That's generally how these things split down when you look at the 7 individual stage 6s. So again, I'm kind of leaving the tune here without tweaking much. I'm just going to run it. Let's see what trans does. Come on, screen load. Okay, there it is. All right, so same thing. Going to try to launch right around 3K. Oh, a little bit off, but shouldn't be too bad. Okay, so fourth gear, and then riding out fourth gear. We're not going to shift into fifth, just kind of ride out fourth. That looks like a decent mile per hour because that's what the dyno said you would hit. And 13,509. Actually, that's pretty good. That is within a few thousands of what we did with the body. So these two are probably near identical. All right, stage 6 engine. Okay, so knowing trans and body is pretty strong, nitrous being very strong, that marks the top three already. So tires on the bottom, that puts engine, turbo, and intake somewhere in between. Maybe intake will once again outshine the worst of the worst by doing even worse than tire, but I doubt it. Tire at almost just a tenth is really pretty bad. Now, I've seen intake do worse though, so we'll find out in a little bit. 13668 is the theoretical best, so it's a little bit stronger, uh, but not a whole lot stronger than tire. So it sounds like engine is not as strong, definitely not going to be as strong as trans or body. Okay, well, the only way to find out is driving the car. Okay, let's see what it does. So if you're playing with it, with the way the driving techniques are done, you may find that you actually beat my time by quite a bit. So don't take my times as gospel. It's a general range. I'm doing this to give you an idea, not necessarily to give you the optimal drive. You have to kind of play with it to figure out what is working best on your device and your particular cars. Again, if you have different fusions, it would impact it as well. So consider all these factors when you look at the times that I'm running. 13636, right around where the dyno said it would be. So this is about a 2/10 drop, about a tenth better than tire, but about 2/10, or at least a tenth worse than trans or body. So this one kind of falls in fourth place at the moment. Stage 6 turbo. Okay, turbo and intake, generally the two worst ones. I'm not holding out a lot of hope in this case either. I suspect turbo is going to be mediocre or just plain bad, but let's hope it's not terrible. Okay, so tuning standpoint, not going to touch much. Just going to get a dyno. 14.2, that looks like about where engine started. So there's hope. The question is whether it's going to actually match engine or it's just going to run right between tire and engine at say like a 14, about 13.7, maybe 13.68 kind of place. Okay, the launch is good. Shifted a little early, so there might be hundreds or two right there. And I'm kind of messing up the shifts here, so that is not going to be the most optimal run, but let's see what it runs first. That looks pretty slow. 13.833. Wow, that's terrible. That's almost as bad as what we ran stock. Can't be that bad. In fact, I doubt it so much I'm going to run it again. All right, a little bit better. Not perfect. A little bit better. Come on, don't fully disappoint me here. Do something better than a 13.8, please. 13.7s. Maybe it still shows up as 13.8 though. 13.719. Okay, that's much better. Whew. All right, so that's pretty decent right there. That's about a 1/10 drop, so kind of like tire. All right, intake. So tire, turbo so far is right on par with each other. I suspect intake will be right there with them. So it's a battle for the bottom three between tire, turbo, and intake. Let's do a quick dyno. Yeah, it doesn't look that optimistic. So I'm not going to mess with the tires or anything. Same tune. Again, each of these tunes utilizing the lower final drive ratio has beaten what the optimal dyno tune has been. So I think that is a good thing. Definitely worth making the adjustments on the tune for that. Okay, that's a bit of a late launch. Uh, Nitrous was caught on time on the first shift. Eh, don't look into this one too much. I think it might be off by a few hundreds at least. What's up? All right, 13718. Okay, so there you go. All three of these very close. Tire, turbo, and intake, pretty much the same, about a tenth each. Okay, so let's look at the strongest combination here. Okay, I'm not going to do all the combinations. I just want to give you an idea of the combination. So stage 6 combinations. In this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the three top ones and one of the bottom ones together. Usually, we know that with these kind of cups, if you got the three top ones, you generally can beat the cup. And if you got the three top one plus the bottom one, you should definitely hit the cup time, especially with full fusions as I have. So if that's the case, this should give us a good idea where the final time might end up. My guess is 12.6 to 12.7 range is what the PC Cup might end up with. And these four stage sixes should be able to beat that. Right now, it dynos a 13.1, but again, you know that's meaningless. You're going to beat dyno by quite a bit. So let's see what the car runs. If it runs under 12.6, then chances are that could be the final time on the PC Cup. Remember, this is an older car. It's been a PC Cup car once. You can maximize the car's fusions and stage sixes using dealership bought Nissan GTRs. Keep that in mind. So it's a very easy car to max. Why would Natural Motion make it easy on us? They won't. They're going to make this one a tough PC Cup. 12.557. So very well could be a 12.62 or something for the PC Cup time. I wouldn't. Oh wait, I forgot to adjust nitrous. I wouldn't even put it above Natural Motion to make it a 12.5. Now max, this car can do about a 12.2 on average, and a 12.19 I believe is the world record. So there's still a good 3/4 there that to make up for with additional stage sixes. So I think it's quite possible that this could end up being the final time. Now this is not an easy final time because if you only have intake nitrous and turbo, you're not going to beat that time easily. So let's see what this time I run with the adjusted nitrous. 12.538. Okay, not much quicker. I was hoping to get into 12.4, but okay, so it is what it is. It's still a little better than the 5.57. So again, I haven't played with it much. I could probably beat that time, but expect this cup to be no easier than a 12.8 and most likely to end up somewhere in the 12.6 to 12.8 range. If Natural Motion gives us a 13-second run, that's really, really nice of them. Now, another side effects of this car, I'm going to first put this car to max. I want to show you what it runs max to give you a feel for the difference between the 4-stage 6 setup and the full max setup. So we're running this tune again. This is a pretty good tune. This is the same tune I believe that the world record run was made on. However, I haven't even come close to that. So, for the leaderboard purposes, uh, I'm probably not going to be anywhere in the top 100. But let's take a look what the car potentially could run even in the hands of a mediocre driver. Oop, late on the first gear. That's going to cost me. This is definitely going to be a 12.2 something run, maybe mid 12.2s to high 12.2s at best. It should top out at 192, which it did. And what did I get? 12.251. Okay. Not great, not terrible. Like I said, that's mediocre for a max car. You, if you're shooting for leaderboard position, you got to get into the 12.1s, 12.19 something. Okay, that's what you're going to be shooting for. Now, the other thing about this car, and one of the reasons, one of the other things I'm going to show you actually is, notice that it has a 12787 dyno and it runs 12.1s. What are 12.2s, I should say. What does that mean? That means it's going to be very effective to use in live because you're basically a dyno crusher car. You have to use it carefully in live, or you're going to bump this car and kill it. But at least for the first few times you take it out there, it has potential. So this car, as it's set up now, doesn't have a lot of evo, so it won't get huge RP, but it will do okay in live, and that's what I'm going to show you right now. So I'm just going to jump into some lobby, and then I'll just race whoever challenges me, or whoever I can find to challenge, I should say. All right, I'm not going to challenge this win-loss guy. He's trying to do win-loss, and I'm not. Oh, here we go. Challenger, F12. Ha, perfect. A tier 5 car. Um, he looks like he is not part of any kind of a elite team, although the name does say elite in it, but he's not a legendary crew that I'm aware of. So I'm not thinking that his car is going to be optimally tuned or fully maxed. Let's see how badly we can beat him. Because you know you're going to beat him with that dyno of 12.7 and running 12.1s, right? You almost can't lose. All right, so I'm way ahead. What I'm going to do is I'm going to slow down, let him catch up. Ooh, I might have slowed down too much. Ooh, that was tight. Okay, I always slow down because I don't want to outrun my dyno. Wow, that was tight. Jeez. Okay, I could have lost that if I slowed down anymore. Okay, the downside is with low evo, you get kind of mediocre RP points. The money's okay. Um, Again, I actually ran 210 slower than what I could have ran easily, or what the dyno should have run, and you still beat the opponent. So that's why this car, again, in the beginning can be used in live. Just don't kill it. If you kill it, well, that's that. It'll take you a long time to reset the car. All right, so that basically brings us to the conclusion of this Stage 6 effects video. Feel free to comment and let me know what you think about this. I think it's a good car. It's not the greatest of tier 4s, and it certainly isn't fast enough to beat Tempest, but Tempest 3, I should say. But it is a good car. Please leave comments, subscribe to the channel so you can get notifications, and as always, I appreciate everyone who watches and comments on my videos. I'll catch you next time.